What? Is all that a wake I up? Huh? Is it that time already? Oh my God. Guess I better put my glasses on. Oh, wow. Oh, God. As if you haven't realized, as if it's possible to not realize, Nikon have released some new cameras, the Z. The Z. Is it the Z or is it the Z? Yeah? I keep hearing people saying it's the Z, whereas obviously in the UK we're going to call it Z. And I heard one argument saying that Nikon or Nikon want it to be known as the Z, not the Z. Funnily enough, Nikon or Nikon never told those people how to pronounce Nikon instead of saying Nikon. So it's a kind of funny one, that one. Anyway, overload. The internet is in overload with the release of the new Nikon's mirrorless camera. I've got my own little M50 here. It's my comfort security blanket. Overload. Crazy overload. So I don't really want to talk into the new cameras and the specifications, because you know I'm not a specky techie photographer. I'm not into specky techie. I'm not into brand new. But having said that, it's been interesting just watching the overreactions and the actions and the over reactions of the people. And I made some lists, a list of comments that I really wanted to speak on regarding this crazy hype situation. And I know I've talked about it many times before on my channel about the hype and us falling into the hype. But obviously, you know, we can't help ourselves because we're not obviously not busy out there taking photos. So when we're not busy out there taking photos, then this gas becomes the next thing. So, you know, looking at what I've seen of the Nikon Z cameras, it looked pretty good for mirrorless cameras. You know, the lenses look a bit cheapy, but hey, you know, it is what it is. You got to remember, right, that when new cameras come out, new mirrorless cameras, I'm going to speak of on Canon. When Canon brought out their new, with their M line, it wasn't for professionals. It wasn't designed for pros. And I think this is what I see a lot of Nikon fans or Nikon users falling into, this idea that they think that these cameras are just for the top level pros. Now, I think Nikon are pretty smart. They're very smart, you know, because I was watching to see what they was going to do. You got to remember that the market, the biggest portion of the market is not pros. It ain't pros. You want to sell a truckload of cameras, M50, basic camera, mirrorless camera, you got to aim for the bigger market, not just the small market. You know, obviously, what I see is they're trying to stop this trail of people leaving to go to Sony, and bringing out the mirrorless, the Z6 in particular, is a very good move. It's a very smart move. Looks like an all right camera. Maybe the price is a bit high, but other than that, I think they've done the right thing. They've definitely done the right thing, you know, with the camera. But I would say to the Sony, to the Nikon users, all getting hyped and getting, you know, themselves in a tizzy over the fact that this Z6 has only got one SD card slot, and it's not, you know, the all-encompassing D850-esque mirrorless that they hoped it to be. I would say you need to get out of that mindset. You're looking at the whole thing wrong, from the wrong perspective. Yeah? Don't see it as a battle, particularly not a battle between DSLR, which you probably already have. Well, obviously you already have, if you're a Nikon shooter. It's not a battle between DSLR and mirrorless. Get out of that mindset. It's not about that. Yeah, you got old school DSLR users, Nikon users. I can see it. I'm reading some of the comments, digging their heels in. Oh, I love my D850. I love my D500 and I'll never leave it behind. This mirrorless pretender that's coming cannot kick the spots off of this, cannot touch my DSLR. I love my optical viewfinder. It is just the best thing since sliced bread. I like the way the light comes through and hits me. I've been hearing comments like this. I've been reading comments like this. You're looking at it wrong. Trust me. I bought my first mirrorless this year. I used to think like that about mirrorless until I bought one. And it completely changed the way I look at things. Trust me, that's not the way to look at it. You know, what I've seen Nikon bring out, the Z6, I can't believe I'm going to say this. The Z6, if you can buy one, go and buy one. Try one before you talk nonsense online. I've already seen people say, well, I'm going to cancel my order and I'm going to this and no, I'm not going to. Buy one. Try one. If you've never used one, trust me, try it. If you've got loads of old school lenses, and obviously I'm a Canon shooter, and so obviously I've got some big chunky lenses around the place. If you've got the ecosystem, the lenses, the flashes, you know, off-camera, wireless remote triggers and stuff, it's in your interest. It is in your interest to stick with what you've got. Because if you, this is the switchers now, if you sell all your gear to get a mirrorless, you're going to lose lots of money. You're going to lose so much money, it's going to be untrue, you know. Try it. The ones who've never tried it, try it. You may be pleasantly surprised, but it's not a battle between DSLR and mirrorless. That's the point. It's not a battle. The two complement one another. There are days, there are jobs where carrying something lighter, something smaller, is going to benefit you. That's the way to look at it. There are days where you don't want to carry this big heavy thing. There are places where putting this in someone's face is going to make them, it's going to cause a reaction. That's where this comes in. The Z6 looks like the perfect camera for that. And I can't believe I'm saying this as a Canon shooter, but I'm trying not to be, you know, battle of the brands, because that is just foolishness. All of that is blung, 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 being strummed up, as I said, by brand ambassadors. If you're a Nikon shooter, you need to look at it. Whatever you shoot, look at it from that perspective, you know. So it's not a battle. Don't see it as a battle of mirrorless or DSLR, and definitely don't see it as a battle of brands, because guess what? Guess what? I'm gonna say something profound here. If another brand has the best spec camera or a better spec camera than the one that you shoot with, guess what? Doesn't affect your photography. Guess what? It doesn't affect your business. It doesn't affect the clients coming to you. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're using Canon and they've brought out the D850 and Nikon, which I keep hearing people talking about it being the best camera ever made. All praise, good luck. Doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect what I do. Sony bringing out the A7 III, you know, tearing up the mirrorless world, doesn't affect me. Why do we get so het up over it? Get over it. We need to stop seeing it as a battle of the brand. We need to get our head on and look at this practically, yeah? So it doesn't affect us. Let's think of it in terms of adding something to our arsenal. I've had this since March. I've had it since, what's it now? March, April, May, June, July, August, 5 months. 5 months, is it March or May? May, yeah? So I've had this a few months, basically. And it has really changed, as I said, the way I look at things, the way I approach what I'm trying to approach. I bought it for street photography. I had a clear objective in mind when I went to buy a mirrorless camera. That's all I wanted it for. You know, this idea that the new camera must surpass everything that the DSLR could do and more. You know, we may have wish lists. We may have a wish list, but companies don't work that way. They're trying to make money, yeah? And they're trying not to tear down their old DSLR lines. So this is how you need to look at it. What can this bring to what I'm doing already, to add to what I'm doing already, to complement what I'm doing, to augment what I'm doing already? That's how you need to look at it. Can the Z6 augment what you're already doing without ditching, like a throwaway thing, the old school DSLRs? Street photography, event photography. Sure, this can do event photography, but the battery life means it's not practical unless you want to carry around a whole load of batteries. Having said that, for street photography, it's great. I could use this for street photography. At the end of the week, my back will be out of line and I'll need surgery or some kind of GP appointment, you know? So we got to add them up, weigh them up, bring it into the arsenal. You got to have cameras for the specific job, just like you have a lens for a specific job. This 135 is a beautiful long range reach that I use in events. I can use it for street photography, but that's not what it's for. I can use it for street photography. I have another one over here. I have a 5D Mark II, 10 years old, that I use for general purpose photography. It's got a 24-70 on here, general purpose lens. Very useful in many cases. It's got a little macro feature on here, which is beautiful. Yeah. So I know specific jobs I'm going to reach for specific cameras. You can see the 70 to 200 over there. I don't really use it that much. Sports and wildlife. That's what that is for. That's how you got to see the mirrorless now. It's an addition to what you already have. Yeah, and it's all good. Right? So what does the mirrorless add? From this year, I've really fallen in love with the EVF, electronic viewfinder. What you see is what you get. I've spoken about it before. You can dial in and see exactly, you know, how your image is going to appear. You can't do that on the DSLR. It's just not possible. You know, in the viewfinder, you can actually review images in the viewfinder. You can't do that on a DSLR. You may say, well, why would I want to do that? But, you know, it saves on battery power if you're always viewing things on the back, because it takes a lot of energy to display this, to illuminate it. So you can save a lot of battery power by actually reviewing your images in the EVF. It's brilliant. Silent shutter. That is, I never realized how brilliant that would be, how important that would be. Silent shutter is crucial in certain environments. I can take pictures with this camera that is just not possible with this 7D. It's not possible. I can get away with stuff in places. People don't even know I'm taking pictures. So that is something that this brings that this doesn't bring. But at the same time, I'm not getting rid of this for this. I'm gonna have both. So it's an added addition to the arsenal. That's how we've got to view it. What else? Obviously the weight. People say, yeah, but if you stick a big lens on, then you lose the weight. But this same lens, if I put it on this, it's heavier. So you still benefit, even though not so much with a big lens. And of course, you can get small lenses for it, and it'll be really tiny and really light. So that is definitely a benefit. What else? Eye detect. I know they were saying that the Nikon Z doesn't have eye detect, unfortunately. But M50, the eye detect is brilliant on here. It's brilliant. You know, it just brings it into another zone that you never had before, that you never knew before, and it works fine. So all these things, like, all these are the benefits of adding a mirrorless to what I've already got. Now, if I was shooting portraits in a studio where I control the lighting and I control the subject, why do I need a mirrorless? I don't get it. I hear people saying, well, I'm going to use mirrorless, I'm going to use it for portraits. Why do you need a mirrorless in that situation where you're in control of literally everything? It makes no sense. You can keep your DSLR. It's perfect for that. Yeah, eye focus is brilliant, but your subject ain't moving. What, you don't know how to turn the focus wheel no more? You've forgotten. Yeah? Back in the days, man didn't even have autofocus. It was manual. Yeah? You've forgotten how to do this. I don't get it, you know? We need to be thinking about this thing, you know, strategically. That's basically what I'm trying to say. You know, the manufacturers, all of them together, whatever, Sony, Nikon, Canon, Fuji, all of them, they've got us, this is the conspiracy part now, they've got us in a Dolphin feed fest principle. That's what I call it. The Dolphin feed fest. I don't know if you ever watched those nature programs, how dolphins work, how they feed. What they do, they find a shoal of fish. That's us, right? That's the customers. And they circle them. They work as a team. Dolphins are all the brands. They work as a team and they swim around and they get all the fish to corral into a tight ball and they swim around because we're all in fear now. We're looking this way and we're looking that way and dolphins are everywhere, yeah? So the masses of the people, the camera buying public, are in a tight ball and they take turns to feed off that tight ball. They swim in, take turns. That's what I see happening, yeah? All these brands all work together. They all work together. They got us in a tight ball. We're all thinking, oh my God, Nikon's they're gonna bring out a mirrorless camera and it's gonna knock Sony off. That is the hope, that is the hype, yeah? Because the brand ambassadors, their job is to feed the fish with the hype, yeah? So we're all corralling. Everyone's around the screen for the whole week. They're releasing these teaser videos. Everyone's watching these teaser videos. And then they make the announcement, oh, the camera isn't what we thought it was gonna be. But now the new hype is all the videos that everybody's bringing out, including me. This is all part of it, but this is part to bust it up, right? This is to bust up the hype, so don't be confused. So we're watching all these videos and everybody's talking about the same specs. Everyone's complaining about the same one slot. Everybody's complaining about the same battery life, how it isn't knocking Sony off the perch, which doesn't really matter. Who's benefiting? The manufacturers are taking a swipe. They're taking a bite out of the tight corralled bunch of fish, food in the middle. This is Nikon's turn to take a bite. They're taking a bite. Then it'd be Canon's turn next. Canon's turn's coming next. Trust me. See, what people don't realize, right? They fail to realize, right? They've been talking about Canon's behind. Canon is behind. Because Canon ain't announced nothing. Sony's got their mirrorless out for all these generations. Nikon's come out. And now everyone's looking. What's Canon going to do? But Canon have had M line out for a good while. And this is how Canon tests. They don't test it on the professionals. They don't test it on the pros. They done that with the flip screen. Remember, the 60D had the flip screen before the full frame. The 60D, then the 70D. The 70D was the first to have the touch flip, yeah? Because remember, the professional 5D, it wasn't seen as a professional thing. Oh, we don't need flip screen. That's for you, little amateurs. That's how Canon do it. M50 is a test, yeah? They've got the M5, they've got the M6, they've got the M range. They've been testing it out. So you know, when they come with their full frame, they could finish it, but they're not going to finish it. They're not going to finish it. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what Canon's going to do. And most of you know already what Canon's going to do, but I'm going to tell you what Canon's going to do. Canon is going to put 6D2 with 4K in a mirrorless body. That's what they're going to do. And everyone's going to go, oh my God, they could have knocked it out the park. That's not their intention, to knock anything out no park. That's not their intention. Their intention is to take their turn at the Dolphin Feed-friendzy. And then Sony's going to come and do something else. And then this is going to go on and on and on and on until we wise up and wake up from our Nikons. We're in a sleep. We're in a slumber. We need to wake up. Yeah? We need to wake up and get out of it. Yeah? So, I've gone on a bit too long now, so I'm going to stop. Nikon users who's never used a mirrorless, try it out. Try it out. Try it out for 6 months. Don't come on and talk about, well, I've cancelled my pre-order. That's stupid. Don't do that. Try it. Yeah? Try it before you buy it, then try it after you buy it, and then in 6 months' time, then talk. Yeah? Done. Zoom. You heard it first right here. Multiple media manager and all that. Go on, chill.